Welcome to Chapter 1 of our series, Land Your Dream Job, the Modern Interview System. In today's episode, titled, The Hidden Job Market, Why 70% of Jobs Are Never Posted, we're going to uncover the secrets behind those elusive opportunities that never make it to job boards. You'll learn what the hidden job market is all about, and how you can tap into it to land your dream role. Let's dive in. Right now, most of the jobs you could do next are completely invisible to you. No posting, no listing, no apply now button. Yet managers are quietly filling these roles every week. So how are people getting them? And why aren't they showing up in your search? Here's where it gets interesting. Those missing roles usually start as half-formed ideas in a manager's head, not as polished postings on a website. A team is stretched thin, a project is stuck, a new client signs. Suddenly, there's a gap. Before anyone writes a job description, that manager is already scanning their mental shortlist. People they trust, people they've heard good things about, people who've recently crossed their radar. By the time a role becomes official, it may already have a frontrunner. This is why showing up only at the posting stage is like arriving at a movie halfway through. You can still get a seat, but many of the best ones are taken. The real leverage comes from being on those shortlists before a job technically exists, by being known, remembered, and recommended in the right circles. So where does this hidden 70% actually live? Often in places that don't look like hiring at all. A casual "we're slammed" comment in a meeting, a VP mentioning a new product in beta, a recruiter quietly asking, "Know anyone good at?" Long before contracts or requisition numbers appear, constraints pile up. Missed deadlines, growing waitlists, stalled experiments. It's like pressure building before a storm. Leaders start looking for ways to release it. The people who hear those first rumbles aren't necessarily the most qualified. They're the ones already close enough to notice the weather changing. Think of a manager with a problem, not a vacancy. Their world isn't organized around open roles. It's organized around bottlenecks. A product launch that keeps slipping, a client who needs hand-holding, a system that keeps breaking. When those pain points flare up, the first question is rarely, "What job title do we need?" It's, "Who can help me fix this fast?" That's why the people who land these roles often aren't the loudest or the flashiest. They're the ones who repeatedly show up as useful in small, specific ways. A marketing analyst who casually shares a short teardown of a competitor's campaign in a LinkedIn post. A junior developer who answers thoughtful questions in a niche Slack community. A recent grad who sends a concise follow-up article after an industry meetup, tying it to a topic that came up in conversation. None of these look like job search moves on the surface, but they quietly answer that manager's core question. If I pull this person into my world, will they make my life easier? This is where most job seekers misallocate effort. They pour hours into perfecting resumes for public postings, while spending almost no time in the spaces where managers reveal their headaches. Conference Q&As, comment threads under industry leaders' posts, local meetups, user groups, even office hour-style webinars. In those settings, you don't need a formal introduction to add value. You need a relevant question, a small insight, or a resource that moves the conversation forward. Notice how different this is from asking for a job. You're not pitching yourself into a void. You're stepping into ongoing problems and offering bite-sized help. Over time, these small, repeated signals create a pattern in people's minds. You understand their world, you notice the right problems, and you respond constructively. When pressure builds and a leader finally thinks, "I should bring someone in," the pattern you've created is what pulls your name to the surface, sometimes before you even realize an opportunity existed. At a practical level, this looks less like networking and more like how good clinicians operate. They don't wait for patients to collapse in the ER. They watch for early symptoms on routine visits and step in before things break. In your world, those routine visits might be a monthly product meetup where PMs vent about adoption issues, or a recurring open source call where maintainers gripe about documentation. when you consistently show up there with one small, targeted contribution, a bug report written clearly, a quick Loom walkthrough, a back-of-the-envelope analysis, you start to feel familiar, then reliable. Concrete example. A data analyst quietly built a simple dashboard after hearing a startup founder complain on a podcast about flying blind on churn. He sent a short Loom demo and the sequel. No pitch, no resume. 3 weeks later, when the founder decided to get help just for a quarter, that analyst was effectively the only candidate considered, and the quarter turned into a full-time lead role. As tools scan portfolios, code repos, and posts the way weather radar scans the sky, the edge shifts from who you know to what traceable impact you've left behind. Recruiters will search skills and proof, not just titles or schools. That means experiments, side projects, and small collaborations start acting like beacons that guide opportunities toward you. The more specific signals you emit, the more precisely future roles can lock onto you. Your challenge this week. Choose one skill you want to be discovered for and publish a tiny proof of it in public. An annotated code snippet, a short teardown, a micro case study, even a before and after screenshot with 2 sentences of context. Then send it to exactly 3 people who'd use that skill, not friends, a manager, a community organizer, and someone hiring in that area. Treat this like learning a new recipe. The first attempts are small, messy, and mostly for you. Over time, patterns emerge. Certain flavors get you invited back, others don't. As you keep sharing useful tastes of your work in the right kitchens, you're no longer hoping to be discovered, you're steadily becoming hard to overlook. Before next week, ask yourself, 1. If 70% of roles are filled through relationships, which 3 people in my existing circle, ex-colleagues, classmates, managers, could realistically know about unadvertised roles in my field? And what's one specific question I could ask each of them? For example, who's quietly building a new team right now? 2. Looking at companies I admire, which 2 would I feel excited emailing directly, and what concise problem I can solve for you sentence could I include that speaks to their current challenges or growth plans? 3. If I treated LinkedIn and coffee chats as my primary job search tools instead of job boards, what 20-minute block could I schedule today to send one tailored message or comment that might start a real conversation about hidden opportunities? This was Owl Up, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!